going on, everyone? Starting a little painting session here today, and I'm done with this one, so we're done with this piece. Actually, I have a couple things I need to update before I get started. Let's do that. Let's do a quick little updates on the tube. Updates on the tube here. Alright. Creator Studio, YouTube.com. Let's go here. All right, got that set up. Cool. And let's go do an update to our stream here. Do a little promo, self promo. Got some new prints for upload.
Medicine. I promise. No medicine. Come over. Come on. No.
All right. Let's see. Is this showing my chats? It's not showing my chat messages. Ah, there we go. Oh, you have to pin that message. Did I pin it? And of course, just as I start. Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say just as I start, my car's ready from the shop. That's not true. So.
Is it ready?
No. All right, it is not ready. Huh? But we're about to start. What was that? Huh?
Drive you there? Right now?
No, not right now. When it's ready.
When's it gonna be ready?
I don't know. So go to Planet Fitness.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, sure, okay. So here's one painting we did today or yesterday. We're gonna be working on another one. This is just Muhammad Api 210. Is that how you, Api? What's up, Jacob? Muhammad Ali. Oh, Muhammad Ali. Oh, I see. All right.
The greatest.
I'm trying to read Cyrillic or whatever that language is. Some Cyrillic language there. Muhammad Ali, the greatest alive, the greatest ever. Well, I can read Cyrillic, yeah.
Yeah, but can you translate it?
Well, Muhammad Ali, that's a name.
I know that.
So, you know, technically, yeah, I can translate it.
Okay.
So we're going to stick this painting up here.
What all the letters mean.
Huh?
What all the letters mean.
I don't know what they all... The letters are letters. They don't mean anything until they're combined into a word.
But you know what they all are.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, you know, sometimes I might mix up one or two, but for the most part, I know what the letters are. So here's the painting that we're working on today, and then we're going to do another one after this. That's going to be a little bit, you know, for adults only. But for now, this is what we're working on. I'm going to bring this back just a little bit, and we're going to bring down, let's see, is this high enough? Yeah. You know what, so this is the painting that we started a couple of days ago. What is my name? My name is Emmett. Yes, that is the name I go by. It is Emmett, E-M-M-E-T-T. And let's go, you know what I want to do? I like this where it's at. I don't think I'm gonna do too much more. I like it where it's at. Let me see if there's anything else I want to possibly do. I'm thinking like I might mess him up, but I kind of like the idea that there's just this guy standing in chaos. And, you know, I'm just wondering if I should just add some of the color around his body to, you know, just create a like sense of color around his body. So that's what we're thinking about. And then we're gonna start another painting right after this. I'm pretty much almost done. I think I just need to do a couple little things, add my signature, and then we're going to move on to our next piece. So how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all fantastic. You know, Ali 210, Jacob. I don't know if I shouted out to Jacob, but what's up, Jacob? Hope you are doing well. Let's see, let's find a green here. And I have to work a little fast because some of my paints are starting to dry up. Some of my paints, certain paint colors are starting to dry up a little bit. I'm gonna find more of a blue here. That's definitely not what I'm looking for. I want a bit more of a blue-green. Just find like a nice little blue-green here. I'm just gonna go around. And I'm just going to use this color to create some contrast between the red blood and then the red blood and the walls. So these walls were originally done with an underpainting. I didn't paint. I'm not going to paint the whole area. I kind of like, not kinda. Have an acting teacher that always said no kinda, never Russia. You liked and subscribe. Hey, well, thanks, Jacob. I hope you enjoy some more pieces. Yes, if you're an artist too, by the way, I'm all for promos. So, you know what? If you're an artist and you're like, hey, dude, will you, like, plug my channel, my Instagram page? Heck yeah, I will. Just let me know. You know, let me know what it is. But this is only if you're 18 or older. Only for 18 or older people. This offer, because you know, if you're under the age of 18, you know, you need to get your parents' approval. But I know a lot of you are probably at least 18 years old. So you know, if that's the case and you want me to plug your business on this channel, just let me know. No, there's no costs. No costs. I'll do it for you. Unless, like, you know, you're a brand, you're a company that wants me to like use your brushes and like whatever. But you know, if you're that. But if you're just an artist and you're like, hey, dude, can you like plug my work? Yeah, let's we can do that. So just putting that out there. It's a possibility. And we're gonna go. This is just creating some contrast in the reds. All right, you take care, Ali. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was just in my live stream, everybody. How exciting is that? I feel like I've been touched by greatness, or visited by greatness, I should say. Feels like I've been visited by greatness, and that greatness will never leave me. The greatest alive. So let's see, we've got some of these details in here. I don't feel like painting the rest. I love this little bit of chaos here. I like this crazy composition. Inspired by a movie. And yeah, I think I like how this looks. So, you know, we've got some interesting colors, some designs. It's not overly done. It's something a little bit different. So the inspiration for this piece is by an artist named Francis Bacon. Now, this actual painting is from a movie, based on a movie called Ichi the Killer. It's a Japanese cult classic film from like the 1990s. And basically, this character is in the room observing the aftermath of what somebody else did. And, you know, at this point, he's just observing it. But, you know, here's the amusing thing, is he's observing it, and he's, like, looking at it. And he's not upset, because so he didn't do it. He's observing the aftermath of what someone else did. And it's interesting, this is some brilliant acting by this guy, is, like, he's looking at it, and he's upset, not because of, like, it's his friends or anything, but he's upset that someone else could be more brutal than him. And that's like the brilliance in the acting in this movie. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out, should I actually, you know, I haven't decided. Should I paint the background or should I just leave it? Like, there's definitely a form here. But as I look at this, I just wonder, should I keep it? I kind of like it. It feels well balanced now that I'm thinking of it. You know, there's some chaos over here. It's balanced over here. It's not meant to be like this neat thing. And I just wanted to do that finishing touch. So I decided to like look at this, sit around and look at it for a moment and just figure out whether I was going to leave it or whether I was going to keep going with it. And I think I'm going to leave it. Now, we're going to do another painting. And this painting is based from the movie Requiem for a Dream. And this is going to be, you know, it's going to be a interesting painting. We're not going to go perfectly, it's not going to be totally recognizable. We're painting over this abstract. I actually really like this abstract piece. I almost feel like I don't want to paint over it. But, you know, isn't this an interesting piece? It really is interesting, and I don't really want to paint over it. But maybe I should just like paint into it, paint what I see into it. Should I use this piece or what? What to do? I really like the way this piece looks, as unusual and abstract as it is. Looks great. I love it. Maybe I should paint over another one. Let me see if I can find another piece to paint over. I have to let this one sit and simmer.
Hi, Melissa. This is Kathleen. Okay, great. Yeah, probably 11 or something. Okay, good. This is on
Alright, here's a piece I could definitely paint over. This piece is just like, I look at this, I'm like, who would ever want something like this? But like, you know, this was one of those pieces where I painted it just for myself. You know, I was bored on a live stream and I was like, what should we do? What do we paint? I'm out of ideas. So sometimes when I'm out of ideas or I'm tired or like, you know, I just want to paint for the sake of painting, or I'm running out of like, or I'm like running out of, or my paint's drying up really quick. I just like do crazy wacky stuff like this. So we'll see. Let's go. I'm gonna paint over stuff.
Just you know, the same guy at my other top. Just usually fancy feast cans, and then
And let's see. This is just crazy.
dry food.
But this might be good for what we're about to do. So let's go ahead and sketch out what we're about to do. We're going to use we will start with some white and ochre. So let's grab a big chunk of this white here. We're going to bring it into our ochre here.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, you have my primary vets info? Okay, yes, yeah.
And bring it into our ochre here. Mix in some yellow.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have a good day.
And we're just going to sketch out what we want here. So rule of thirds.
All right. Burn.
Rule of thirds. Easy rule of thirds. Gonna have them going lengthwise. And then let's see. Rule of thirds. We're gonna have them fill this like entire little box here. This little box. So just estimating the rule of thirds here. So rule of thirds, third of the way, 8 inches. So this is 24. So about every 8 inches, I'm gonna have a corner right here. So we're gonna go. Oh, that's a little low, but here we go. You know what, maybe I bring this out a bit. Extend this out a bit, give it a more of a oval-esque shape. And then still just sketching out our idea. So our next painting is going to be, so we're painting over this. This is not our actual piece here. We're just painting over it. And then let's go. I want to make this look more like a platform. I'm just going to keep this really rough and loose. For now. We will tighten things up, but you know, the goal is not necessarily to be super specific. Get them nice and big, nice gestures here. Lots of roundness. Honestly, maybe let's go like this. We're going to do this again on this side. You know what this one is going to be? We're going to make this one a little bit more unusual. I'm going to twist this body a little bit. This body is going to get twisted a little bit, and then we're going to go like this. And just give this like a really animalistic feeling as I sketch this out. Animalistic, what does that even mean? Like not animalistic, but like primal. Just try to make it like very raw. This isn't going to be a figurative painting. We're not, you know, going for realism here. All right, we can start to get like, we can start adding other colors here. We'll start adding in some red highlights here. Let's start bringing in some red highlights. Little bits of red here. I'm still using a pretty small brush for this. And then let's grab our blues here. I'm gonna go blue. We're just gonna go into this hair here. Maybe some black. Let's throw some black into here. What is this black? Let's go ahead and throw some black into here. Let's give it an unusual shape. Make this round head and then give it a nose. How about this nose here? And let's see, let's let the drip happen. And then we're gonna go grab some of this color, grab some of this blue. Just continue to let this drip happen here. And let's see, how do we... So those of you that are just watching this, I'm going to tell you right now where this painting is based on a scene from Requiem for a Dream. So, you know, that movie is not is a very adult movie, not for kids, or unless, you know, you want your kids to see the potential, you know, negative downside of doing drugs. I could see it being a very anti-drug movie. So, you know, you get your kids to watch that show and, you know, with that movie, and it might just have them second guess their thoughts around drugs. But that movie, iconic movie, one of the best filmed movies, one of the most creative movies by Darren Aronofsky. And yeah, really, really great movie. But as far as that's concerned, let's go into this. We're going to start finding some of these green colors in our figures, I guess. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go down to this shadow right here. And let's see how this ends up coming out. I'm going to find some white highlight. Let's grab some real white and go into here just to start covering up our surface here. And honestly, I could probably just start going in with different shades of black in the background at some point. But for now, let's just keep going with this white here. Let's find some nice shades of white. So we're going to go right around here, right around here. And this is not, you know, technically correct painting methods. So, you know, there's no real, like, tutorial here. I can't really give a tutorial because, well, I guess I could just talk about what I'm doing. I can't really give a tutorial because this isn't like, hey, this is, you know, how you do this, this, and this, and, you know, this is the right way to mix these colors or whatever. This is just me finding order in chaos, finding the order in this chaos of a painting that I had. So I'm painting over for a reason, and that reason is because I didn't really like it in the first place. You know, I just did it. I did it during a live stream, and to be honest, you know, I took ideas from the audience, and sometimes, and you know what? I'm totally open when I do that. I really do mean that I will take ideas, and I usually accept most of them. And sometimes the ideas may or may not ruin a painting, even if it's like a crazy painting like this. So there we have it. You know what? Let's do something interesting. Let's start to mess things up right now. Let's take one of these. Just start messing things up as we go. I don't want it to be what is this going to come up with? I don't know, but I don't know. I never know. It's not true. I sometimes know, but it sounds good when you say I never know, because it makes it sound like, you know, you're making things up on a spot, and because you never know, that somehow that we come up with something great. But here's the funny thing. I used to think like improvisational comedy. I don't know if anyone likes improv comedy, but I used to think that like improv comedy was like this super, like literally just spontaneous, just people literally making up things on the spot. And I've had the opportunity to study some really from some really great teachers in that area. And the truth is, there's a method to it. There's a method to the madness there's a method to the madness of there's a method to the madness. By the way, if you are a parent watching with your child, I just want to say that this is not a kid-friendly painting. So just saying that right now, that this is not a child-friendly painting. And this at this point, like, you can tell this painting is going to be very abstract. I'm not gonna, it's not gonna be too much of a reveal of anything, but just want to let you know that this is not a kid-friendly painting. So just getting some ideas down right now. Ideas down of like the forms and figures. So that eventually I can just go into here so yeah, just letting you know, for those of you and here we go. Let's go around the side of this. Let's start using up our black here. I just want to cover up some of the really dark areas of this. Just want to quickly cover up some of this canvas. Just so I can like work easier on the surface. Because if you have too much color, it just like becomes this visual distraction and it's just chaos. Which, at some level that's what we're aiming for, but also at the same time it's not totally necessary to our painting. So allowing our black paint to just set some ideas for us. Just reducing the overall color of everything. You know what? Maybe we could grab. I'm gonna grab some. Let's grab this red here. I'm just gonna paint this into some of the background as well. And here we go, adding in the reds here, trying to reduce the color impact of all of these, of the underpaint here. This wild and bizarre underpaint. I know someone really unusual would probably like the underpainting. But you know what? I'm painting something even just as unusual on top. So if someone really would have liked the underpainting, they'll probably like the painting I'm doing on top as well. And they'll have the benefit of knowing that there is an underpainting underneath, that there is a crazy wild painting underneath that is even just as interesting. Right? Isn't that nice? All right, here we go. So just allowing the paint to do its work. Grab some of the blue, grab some of this, grab some of our darker ochre here, and I just want to blend in, use some reds and browns to go around here. And this might take a couple days to dry, but I wanted to really cover this canvas and just have this like feeling of just like surrounded by this very dark, dingy color. And let's see. All right. All right, so let's see. You're gonna go take down the rest of this paint right here. Very wet, lots and lots of wet paint right there. Totally covered in paint. There's if I was to say anything, here's one tip that I really like that I got from this book called Art Spirit by Robert Henry. He's a painter from like the late 1800s. And the one tip that I got that I really liked from his book, The Art Spirit, is, so he talks about all the different types of brushwork you can have, the expressions you can have, right? You can have a technical, exact, your brush strokes could say that you're exacting, that you're precise, that you're expressive, that you're emotional, that you're all these things. And he said the one type of brush stroke to avoid out of all the things, the worst one of them all is the miser's brush stroke. The person who is miserly with their expression, that is miserly with their paint, that feels as if paint is a limited resource. And what I find interesting is that's coming from a guy from like the 1800s. So, he didn't have Michaels, right? He couldn't just stop at a Michaels or a Blick or whatever high-end art store, low-end art store, and just like buy paint supplies. He couldn't have Amazon delivered to him, he had to I'm sure it was probably not easy to go find an art store, or maybe he made his own paint, I don't know, but it says a lot. And as much as paints can cost nowadays, I do find it amazing that I can get all sorts of qualities and varieties delivered right to my door. So trying to get the paint off of this large brush. I usually use this large brush for covering larger surfaces. That makes sense, right? Using a large brush for large surfaces? Yeah. Makes total sense. So I'm trying to clean off that brush. The bigger the brush, the harder it is to clean off. Oh, Tarico. What's up, Tarico? How's it going? Hope you're doing great, man. Great to see your new song out. Everybody, Tarico Fernando has a new song out on his YouTube channel. Isn't that awesome? He's got a great song. There you go. Looks like I have some twerking. Yes, you know it. That's exactly what this is going. It's exactly what's going on here. Something like that, I guess. Something like that that's happening. Twerking and popping. Yes, that's right. So this is not a this is from Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie. But that's what we are working with here. And that is what this all about. Twerking and popping. So I'm gonna find an ultramarine blue. And grab a nice ultramarine blue. Gonna lay down our ultramarine blue. We're gonna find some white color. Grab some white here. Yeah, if you don't go, you don't go. And we're gonna find like a gray. I want to gray out this blue just a little bit. I'm gonna grab the rest of this blue, this gray that I have. This is a fantastic tool when you're working with oil paints, is these little twist tubes. Now the problem is they only work with the smaller tubes. You can't do them on anything above 150, but like, you know, every once in a while it's good to just, there's always like small tubes on sale because, you know, the artists who are using lots and lots of paint, they're buying the big tubes. And, you know, I think the real small tubes are really, you know, for either beginner or hobbyists or, you know, like professionals that maybe do smaller paintings. But these go fast. I can use like 12 milliliters in less than one painting, like a half a painting. Just to cover this is like 10 milliliters of paint. So paints get really expensive real fast. Now, obviously, if you paint small, when I was painting smaller, you know, 12 milliliters can last me like 4, 5, 6 paintings, right? Because this is 20 by 24. So, you know, divide that by 5, even divide that by half, right? 10 by 12, right? You could have 4 10 by 12 paintings with just the price of one. You know, just doing some art math right now. It makes you think, oh my goodness, that's how much these paintings cost? That's how much it costs to make a painting? Yeah, it's a lot of paint. You don't realize what goes in these intricate pieces. Yeah, you know, I mean, it all depends, but ultimately, it is what it is. So we're going to go with our blue. We're going to grab a little bit of our gray here. We're going to mix that into our blue so we can have like a grayed out blue. Let's go into here just to start covering our space. I'm going to cover our space with like a flat color to work from. Yeah, these pieces, they can get expensive. Now, obviously, like, you know, the smaller pieces, they use way less paint, but at the end of the day, yeah, the bigger pieces. Gotta make paint. You gotta use paint, right? You can't paint without using paint. And you can't express an idea or creative vision if you're too worried. If you're very worried about paint. So thank goodness. I mean, you know, back in the day, I feel like, you know, the only people that really have excuses to be like concerned about paint is like back in the day when you couldn't get paint in a tube, and like, you know, 1800s, and you actually had to like either make your own paint or find someone to make your paint for you, and then you had to like source precious metal ingredients from mines, and you had to like convince a merchant to convince the queen of Greece or whatever to go and approve a mission to go find ingredients that you could make pigments of paint from. I mean, that like definitely being precious with paint. I mean, I guess being precious with paint is definitely important, but like great job for the artists that were able to like make amazing work even without that preciousness. Feeling vibe, hit that like and subscribe. Yeah, all right. So thank you. I gotta remind myself to say that sometimes. But you know what? Sometimes it's great to just like have someone else say it, right? Like it's always great to have, like, you know, here's a funny thing. I think it's so annoying that websites like Reddit, that if you want to like promote something that you've done, you're not allowed to promote yourself. You can only promote other people. So like, you know, all you need to do is have somebody, aka a friend, create a Reddit account and do your promos for you. And that's the only workaround. So basically, like, people who are introverts and don't know how to do these like guerrilla marketing tactics, or like, I don't even want to call it guerrilla marketing, but like, only people who are like introverts who like have too much, only people who would be unwilling to do that, unwilling to like have a friend do a promo for them, are the ones that suffer, you know. And that's a lot of artists, I think, who unfortunately they can't self-promo. If you could just find someone to do it for you. I don't know why that's such a rule, but that just makes it, you know, easier for artists who have friends to promote themselves, while artists who don't have friends get stuck. But, you know, I get at the same time, like, you know, they get a lot of garbage too. There's a lot of garbage work on Reddit, but I mean, this is pretty garbage. Looks garbage. What is this? What is this weird, bizarre painting? I gotta tighten it up. There has to be some balance of like technical skill with abstraction. That's what I think makes Francis Bacon such a fantastic artist, is that he was able to balance a level of technicality with, you know, an abstracted, unusual design. You know, it's really hard to say that like Francis Bacon wasn't a talented draftsperson as well as like this great expressive artist. I mean, even Picasso. But fortunately, we are past the era of thankfully for the artists of the 1980s, our art is, you can actually paint stuff like this, and people probably like it. Personally, I don't really like this piece right now because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And you know, I started pretty loosely. So now I'm going to tighten up some of the ideas. Tighten it up. So we're going to go into here. The world is a stage.
Cutie, you're so cute. How can we go anywhere?
All right, let's see. Actually, we might have to tighten this up. But let's go into our figures now. Let's stop with this piece. And let's go. We've got this white. Let's grab some of our yellow here, and we're gonna go around here.
Okay, I'm gone.
You're here?
I'm gone.
You're gone.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna stop and get what's an outfit for tomorrow.
Okay. I'm gonna go down with this blue here. Maybe that might match the background too much, so let's try to whiten this up. Bring this back up here. Let's see. Grab some red. And now let me see how I can like just make this unusual. I'm gonna go with some outlines. Let's start with some outlines. I'm gonna grab some of this darker outline. We're gonna go let's grab some more white paint. White paint's the best. You can do everything with white paint. Everything you could possibly want to do can be done with white paint. All right, let's start by, let's see, what can we do? What will we do about this? And we're gonna go halo of white around here. Let's go white around here. And then let's go white around here. Let's just see what we can start to come up with as we start to add in this disturbing paint, these disturbing paint colors. Let's just give her like a little nub of a hand. This is like not supposed to be a pretty, it's not supposed to be a pretty painting, you know? And I love this. It's like, it's got like a weird monkey face to it. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna run with this idea that this is like a monkey face. It's got this just creepy looking, like what kind of human being looks like this, right? What is this? Yes, what is that? That's a good question. gonna give it a nice little tongue here. Going back to the edge of the tongue. Let's give some red, yellow. They're interconnected here. All right. You know what? Let's grab some red here, and we're gonna do this like a tongue here. I'm gonna give it a nice little tongue. Let's go back into black. Let's try to find our black. Not a good color. Not a good color for this section. So again, if you're a parent watching this with your child, I just want to tell you right now that I'm about to say some things that are not PG, that are not really, you know, I know parents like to watch, know what their kids are watching. So I want to say this: if you're under the age of 21, this conversation is too adult for you. Just a disclaimer. Now, if you think you can handle talks that, it's not even that controversial. I just feel like I have to be extra careful with disclaimers because of YouTube's policies. So anyway, what I want to say, if everybody who needs to tune out has already tuned out, sometimes when I paint like this, I try to paint as if, how would I paint if I was drunk? I know Francis Bacon, who is the partial inspiration for this piece, was constantly was like an alcoholic. He wasn't like an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. And you know, I don't drink. Probably drink like 3 times a year. And you know, it makes me think of, you know, this idea that alcohol definitely does help to, you know, help you to overcome your inhibitions. And you know, when that comes to painting, that could be really important, especially if you're painting like unusual things, right? But I'm a firm believer that some of the best art, even from artists who are known to be like, you know, drinkers or whatever, some of the best art came from artists who were sober, at least when they came up with the idea. Maybe not during execution, but at least when they came up with the idea that they were sober. And I'm a believer in that. But also at the same time, you know, I do realize that there may be, depending on the type of painting style you have, that there probably are not benefits, but like, you know, there are things that when you're making art while under the influence primarily of alcohol, that, you know, there is a style that can come from it, right? There's a way of doing things that that can come from it. So anyway, that's my theory. And you know, in order to get like weird paintings like this, I don't necessarily feel like I need to like do or drink. But I definitely feel that if I did have like a different different brain set, different thinking in my head, that my art would come out totally different. But anyway, last thing, you know, it's one of those things, you have to make a choice, right? As an artist, do you want to depend on certain things to make you paint, or do you think, you know, you can just practice being in a mindset of just having a certain type of freedom with your creativity, and if you can work with that alone? It's a choice. It is a choice that one has to make. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna have this guy. We're gonna have a guy right here. And we're gonna have another guy. Just do a circle for a head. These are not humans. These are just faces. These are not human beings. So here we go. I'm gonna go. There's a hand there, hand there. Let's go with some deeper color here. We're gonna grab some more of this white and put our hand right here. Oh, let me see. We're gonna go head right here. Another head right here. What am I drawing? This is from a movie called Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if you're familiar with it at all. It is a scene from Requiem for a Dream. And we are painting it in an unusual way. Two humans stuck together. Yeah. That's pretty much what this is. Two humans joined together, not necessarily stuck, but joined in some way, from the movie Requiem for a Dream. This is not a... Yes, that is what it is. You nailed it. You got it, bruh. You got it. Congratulations. This is not a kid-friendly stream or art piece. This is not Bob Ross. Maybe it could be like the Bob Ross of adult paintings. I don't know. Yeah, Tiger Morph. Yes, it was a very sad movie, man. Like, very, very sad movie. So go. Good to know somebody is familiar with the movie. And right now we're gonna go starting to just mess around with some ideas here. Let's see how we can start messing around with this. I might need some black. Yes, need some black paint. Where's the rest of the black paint? Actually, you know what? Rather than use black, let's try to use up the rest of our... I'm almost done with this tube. I will be very happy when I'm finally done with my Winton oil color Van Dyke Brown. This is a good like entry-level brand, but Van Dyke Brown supposedly is like the worst brown to use for painting. Bob Ross, bet he is laughing from his grave. Yeah, and you know, unfortunately the packaging for this, so I use like a tube roller in order to get the most out of my tubes, and the packaging for this, there's like 3 holes in this. So like part of my paint is dry and like part of it is still wet. So like when I put this on my canvas, it dries up in like 2 days. Van Dyke Brown, Newton, whatever, Winsor Newton. You know, I like these colors. They're affordable, they're okay, but for whatever reason, this Van Dyke Brown tube broke easily and it dries up way too quick. It's like a, you know, some oil paints come out and they're like, you know, really wet, too wet, which means they put too much oil and not enough pigment. And sometimes they come with like really thick consistency, which I guess means they did a really good job of packing the paint with pigment and didn't use a lot of oil. But something about this feels more like an icing. It feels more like an icing than it feels like a feels more like an icing than a paint. And ever since I learned that it's probably one of the worst browns to use, I have pretty much tried to use up as much as I can. No, I mean, I love Winsor. I like Winsor. I get Winsor all the time. But more specifically, it's this type of brown. Here, let me show you instead of just my experience with this specific type of brown. I need to find an art book real quick. I'll be right back. Ugh, cannot find the book that I'm looking for. Try again. Alright, well I can't find the book that I'm looking for. Somehow I'm always missing the same book. And that is Color and Light by James Gurney. Well anyway, he says that Van Dyke Brown is the worst brown. So there's that. But golden brown, that's a good combo because you're confused. The paint, the brushes, or the stretched canvas. The brown needs gold, Windsor paint. So I still recognize recommend Windsor paint. I just but definitely Windsor paint. You know, I like Windsor paint. Again, this is not about the brand as much as it is about this one specific paint, which you know, has given me lots of issues. As far as the tube is concerned, you know, the tube breaks too easily. You know, I got like 3 or 4 holes in it, and on top of that, it like dries way too fast, which I think has to do with the holes. And it has like this weird texture, just a weird texture. I can't really explain it other than it's a weird texture. Wish I had a better answer for y'all, but I do not. It's just a weird texture, and that's the story I'm sticking with. So anyway, we're gonna go with this figure, this unusual figure, and we're gonna give it some hair. Like, it doesn't really like lay down. The paint doesn't really go down. Yeah, it's just like a weird paint. Yo, what's up, Azraya? The tube easy fix, just transfer them into jars. Hey, that's actually a pretty good idea, but I feel you know what's really weird is I feel like I've drawn this before. That's a really weird feeling right now. I feel like I've drawn this before. This is not my first time doing this piece. I'm getting like Getting what's it called? Deja vu vibes right now. Deja vu. Anyone ever have that deja vu where they feel like they've done something before? They can't quite pin down what that is. Deja vu vibes. Tiger morph. Where are the tentacles? Oh, did you see that? So the tentacles I painted over. The tentacles are somewhere down here. I've painted over them. They were down here though, in the original painting. Right. This is a paint over. All right. So what do I do from here? Honestly, let's see how we can find. Find some of the brilliance of this. Let's find some good ideas here. Painting with our fingers. People, and art looks cool. You like it? Hey, well, thank you. Yeah, I had a couple of good paintings, I think, and you know, I had a couple good paintings in a row, I think, but I feel like this painting, I don't know if I'm gonna be too happy with it. We might see. We're still, you know, still really early on. Sometimes I just have like a feeling, and you know, that feeling could turn out good sometimes. Like, and when I say like a feeling, I mean like, you know, there's a feeling of paintings that I'm gonna want to keep, and then paintings that I'll probably paint over. And I'm not quite sure, I'm not quite convinced yet whether I'm gonna keep this or paint over it. Not quite sure if this is gonna be a paint over or a keeper. That might, you know, that might be something that I find out later, even later down, further down the road. Way further down the road. Another paint over with a 4-inch brush. 4-inch brush paint over, yes. And let's see if I have any good news. Got a text message right now, let's see. Nope. That's not. This reminded me of the movie soundtrack. Need to add it. Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. The movie soundtrack. You know what? Let's use a red. Use a red to paint. Use a red, gray. Do an outline here. Let's go like this. So who's got something to promote? I know Tiger Morph, I think you joined in on one of my in my conversations the other day on my posts. Thank you. But who's got something to promote? Obviously, I have my print posted, but if anybody else has something to promote, something that they're proud of, that they're happy to talk about, definitely feel free to do so. But where's this painting going? I admit I'm a little lost right now. Maybe if I keep dabbing it with a sponge, eventually something will happen. Something will surely happen, right? What happens when you just dab it with a sponge? I don't know. Let's try to find some subtle colors here. We're gonna go around with the blue here. Let's go with the black. We're going to paint this into a circle. Here's a question. So here's a fun question. So a lot of people say we don't need another Picasso, we don't need another Van Gogh, we don't need more Leonardo da Vinci's, we don't need blah blah blah, we need more whatever. But let's just say, instead of thinking that, well, who is an artist that we actually do need more of? Who does everyone think is an artist that, like, if we were to copy them, that would actually, you know, if more people try to copy them and became like them, that we would actually have nice art. So you have inactive deviant art with some digital paintings, but you have large at home canvas ready. Awesome, dude. Canvas ready for what? What are you working on? What is the what are you working on that is exciting here? Put this guy in a suit right here. There's a guy in a suit. There's a girl with dark black hair. I may have to paint over this, but at least, well, I'm definitely gonna have to paint some more into this, but for now, at least there is some idea of like layout that we have. And it's that you want to see an Emmett painting, no open books, no references, freestyle. That's the Emmett you want to see, and you agree with them. You only have and you agree with them too? What do you mean? You agree with them too. I have a lot of, you know, I have a lot of paintings. The painting on this, underneath this was one of those paintings, and you were part of it. You've seen this, Michael. You've seen me do that. You have seen me do paintings. Yeah, I covered over the birdcage. You want to photograph something or maybe an ambient scene and then paint it, not sure yet. That's good that you got some ideas flowing. Better to be with ideas than without, right? I was actually sitting this whole morning. My car's in the shop right now. And didn't have to work today. And you know, I was sitting, I was like, what should I paint? And I was like, you know, it's so easy to get stuck. There's like so many ideas that I was like coming up with. I was like, well, I could do this, and this. But eventually one came to me and I decided to want to do this. But who knows? Who knows? I'm not really liking it so far. Feel like I'm not capturing a certain look that I'm looking for. Yeah, how many different artists have done paint overs? You know, there's a couple great books that I've seen that like talk about different artists and like their techniques, and a lot of them have like paint overs. You know, I think the boy with the blue boy or something. I forget what artist that's from. It's like a boy with like a blue outfit, and that was a paint over, supposedly. It's a random guy in an online game where you should paint. You did it. You never saw the finished work. So did you ever do it, or? Is it on your page? Her house has the blue boy and pink girl prints. You see them at a lot of estate sales. That means they're popular. They are the popular ones. That means they're worth money. See, this is an Emmett original based on a movie. Does that make it unoriginal? The fact that this is based on a movie, is that instantly unoriginal? Like, I think it's a step better than AI, but I think it's at least a step better than AI, right? One step above AI, because I'm combining other human creativity with my own interpretation of their creativity. Combining, aka stealing. I'm stealing someone else's creativity. So right now I'm like thinking, how would I be painting this if I was drunk? You know, how would this painting be different if I was just, would it be better if I was just like kind of stoned, not stoned, drunk? I don't know. I've been tempted lately, no lie, to see what my paintings will look like if I was drinking, but I don't want to ruin my work. I wouldn't necessarily ruin my work, but I don't want it to be overly influenced by other things. Let's see, what do we do here? There's just so much going on. The one thing about a lot of artists that I like to follow is they're really good at just like capturing like one simple idea without overly making complex scenes. You know, like Basquiat could just paint one giant figure in a very expressive way, and you would just be amazed and blown away at what he did. A lot of artists are like that. Basquiat, Francis Bacon, or some other artists that are, you know, they just paint like one simple subject. And you could just be like astounded. I mean, obviously Leonardo da Vinci with the Mona Lisa, but I would say that even the Mona Lisa, there's a lot of embellishment. You know, the Mona Lisa has a lot of embellishment as far as portraits are concerned. You know, that background is beautiful. You know, there's multiple gradations of color schemes on her face. I guess any cartoonist, Miyazaki, I guess is a good one. Would Hemingway wrote A Farewell to Arms if he was sober? Alexa, did Ernest Hemingway write A Farewell to Arms sober?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
She doesn't have an answer to that. I don't know. I'm sure the idea behind Farewell to Arms, I would imagine that a lot of that did come from while he was sober. But maybe, you know, I wouldn't put it against him to have, you know, had a couple drinks while he was painting. I wouldn't put it past him. How can I modify this? Maybe if I go with like, if I grab like a yellow background, like that, what would a yellow background do? Let me grab some of this yellow here and let's just start spreading it around. There we go. Maybe it needs a yellow and not like a, not a black. Plum on fire getting flushed in a toilet. With Hemingway, minimalist painting. Yeah, minimalist painting. That is a style. Well, I think they call it suprematism, right? There's I guess suprematism could be a wide range of styles, but or not suprematism. What is Immaculates? The Immaculate School, right? Just hard edges, super clean, tight paintings. Alexa, what is the suprematism art movement? So they read autobiography of the famous Emmett lived from 1996. Well, that's definitely not me. I am going to live much longer than that. I'll have to write my own biography. I need to give the background some color here. Let's go mix some brown red into here. I'm gonna mix some brown red into this area around here. Add it just around to the edges. What do we get? You know, one thing about Robert Henry's book, it's called The Art Spirit. I do recommend it for, you know, creative thoughts and ideas. But I think my one criticism right now is I think Robert Henry's generation of artists was often, not always, but often obsessed with the pursuit of beauty. And you know, I think it's more of a modern thing to, you know, be in the pursuit of not beauty, you know, of ugliness. Like, I think even Picasso's Guernica was a very well painted. It's like, you know, he painted war. You know, Guernica's about war, right? I think we can agree to that. You know, it's about the concept of war, but he painted it so beautifully. It's like, you know, it's like aggressive. It's got like a, you know, a feeling. There's a feeling that's, you know, not quite settling to it, but it's like beautifully painted. And, you know, I definitely think that there is that part of, I don't know what I'm doing with this. This might have to be another paint over at some point. We'll see. How many paint overs can you do on a single canvas? I don't like it. Yo, what's up, Omi bro? Omi bro? Toby? What is this a painting of? This is a painting from the movie, based on the movie Requiem for a Dream, but I am looking to abstractify it in the style of in a Francis Bacon manner. But you know what? His methods are often a mystery. And I don't think he really painted with really wet paint. He probably, you know, did a mix of like wet paint with dry paint. Let's go like this. I'm gonna go with some reds. Let's go some red, yellow right into here. Oh, me, bro. Let's go into some of these figures in the background. We'll add a little bit of white onto her. And then some extra white right here. And then white onto the arm. And this dude's shining a flashlight. Let's grab some white. We're gonna go white underneath here. And let's add some reds. Grab an ultramarine blue. Yeah, so if you really ask what I'm doing right now, am I painting? Actually, you know what am I really doing? I'm trying to find an expression of this idea that looks interesting. I'm trying to find a visual concept, a visual idea that captures this moment from this movie in like a grotesque way. But am I achieving that? No, I feel like I'm just like making swirls. At this point, I think the paint's like really wet, and I probably need to wait a little bit. Socrates passed by an animal carcass one day and said, "Look how beautifully the teeth shine in the sun." Dude, love that quote. Love it. Great. It's awesome. Let me see what happens if, instead of doing these big splotches, let me try to be more specific here. Yeah, this paint's just too wet. It's not gonna do my bidding at this point. Here, let's see what happens if I paint around these figures. I'm just kind of curious. So like, you know, I'm wondering what would happen. So one thing that's really distracting me is all these like things on the outside, like these little, because I used a sponge, and now it makes me wonder like what would happen if I actually take some white with some blue and we go around the outside and just cover up these spongy, oh, that's not good, that's not a good color. And just cover up these spongy areas with like the blue here. And let's just see, gives it like a tighter look. Yeah, you know what, it tightens it up. So, you know, not that that's not what I was expecting, but, you know, that is exactly what I was expecting, but I'm just trying to see exactly, you know, what it does to the figures themselves. You know, it's one thing to know and assume things, but I think anyone over the age of 30 can, or even the age of 25, can appreciate the idea that it's one thing to know things, it's another to have experience of what actually happens, right? It's like, it's one thing to know that touching the stove hurts, but while it's hot, but it's another thing to know how it actually feels. So I actually do like this effect that we're coming up with. So like what's happening is I'm losing some of that remnants along the edges. So the figures are becoming more tightened. The figures are getting tightened up, and I'm losing these like little remnants, so you can't tell that there was a sponge, and it just looks like, you know, you're just kind of curious, like how did the body gain this like texture? So kind of cool. I like it. I can approve. Right, you tighten up the body, and now you're losing like the remnants from the the sponge. Let's mess around with this. Let's like put an eye. I'm gonna grab a smaller brush. We're gonna put an eye here. I'm gonna do like some eyes. Let's do like a set of eyes right here. That actually do anything? What does it do? No. Is it helping or hurting? Is it helping our project or is it hurting our project? Let's see. My last painting was okay. What is this surface? maybe, gosh, I keep dropping my paintbrushes like every time. What's going on? I keep dropping paintbrushes. Maybe if I distort the background, you know, this object a little bit. No, I don't think that would solve it. What do I need to do? Okay. These ideas were so damn good. So damn good. Let's go with a light here. We're gonna go I need to get another sponge. I need a good supply of sponges to paint with. I used to have a bunch. Let's see if I can find another. In here. You know what I've tried that also probably worked well in the past? Like random parts, random clothes, like retired clothes. So like, you know, I'm gonna use an old sock. This sock has been like, it is so old. Look how worn it is. Can you tell how worn this sock is? Like, this sock is probably like 15 years old, I'm guessing. And it is so stretched out at the top. I should sell this to like a vintage sock shop. But we're gonna use a sock and see what we can create. Like, I like the textures that you get from different I had a like retired pair of underwear that I used at one time. But like, you know, socks. Because why not? Socks. Well, gotta be specific about what you're doing though. You know, you can't just do it nilly-willy. You gotta. I think at some point, you know, eventually all these marks will make sense. For now, they're kind of like, just not quite getting it, people. It's one of those days where the ideas are just not coming together for me. Just one of those days. Who sang that song? Did anybody recognize those lyrics? Limp Bizkit? Nobody? What if we roll this sock through this painting? Let's roll it. It smells really good, this sock. Clean laundry. What is this horror? You know, part of me wants to take a break from this. Part of me wants to take a break from this. And let it dry for a little bit and then work on it another day. All right, let's see how we can add additions of gray. Can't paint like this with a brush. Where have all my sponges gone? Let's see what we can do with tape. The magic of tape. It is such an easy solution for creating like really clean edges. And you know what? Let's try that again. Kind of like this effect that we're having. So let's go with some. Let's go with some more hard edges. Some nice clean edges. See what happens with this. So maybe plan out the edges a little bit. I'm gonna go. Let's go. Cut this tape off. This is going to be one angle. Oops. this is going to be another angle. And I don't know if that's accurate, like as far as lighting is concerned. But we're going to go put this tape down. One cool thing about this tape is that it actually stays on wet paint. And let's try to find like a good blue light to paint this. Oh, you know what? Do you want to keep? I really like this effect of just like this chaos, but then like this really like one good tight light. But I don't know if I'll be able to like maintain this level of neatness. So let's go ahead and find a nice little blue light right in their face. Grab a white, mix in our white light, and just paint through. No. I'm gonna try to find a green. There we go. There's a green. A little bit more green. Or I should say more yellow to capture the effect of the green. Try to get a little bit more of this yellow. Not try. I say that a lot, huh? I say I try a lot, but in reality, I'm not even trying. I'm just doing it. All right, let's try this again. Let's go to here. Grab our yellow. Let's see if we could find some colors into here. And here we go. Grab this and bring in some white onto this figure. Let's see. You know what this makes me want to do? I want to do a hard edge painting right now. I'm gonna take a break on this. I think I need to let this simmer for a day or two. Just let it simmer. And while it simmers, I need to do another painting. So let me grab one. And I want to play with this piece, move a couple pieces around. Put this piece on a back burner. I do want to take a photo of it before we move on. Get a nice quick photo. It's really wet right now, so many ideas that are being blinded by the light. So how can I reduce the light? Let's just rotate this a little bit to reduce the light so we get a photo. let's go over this. I want to do some tape painting. So let's try to find like a little composition that we can do. I really like this painting. I don't know why. It's just I can't pinpoint exactly why I like this painting so much, but I just do. There's just something about it. Let's experiment. Let's we want to do this. I'm gonna place some tape in various places. To help give it like a nice hard edge design. Why am I so afraid to mess up this painting? I like it so much. I can't allow myself to be fearful of messing up a piece like this. Maybe I should just tighten it up instead of trying to paint over it. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Let's do that. Let's tighten it up instead of trying to paint over it. So start with this color and this gray. Let's fill in with some grayish blue here. Is this like a gray blue with hints of yellow? Let's see. Is it better to tighten up or better to like leave raw and candid? This raw, candid painting here. We're going to do that with some of this yellow here. Let's just bring this yellow down. Let's bring in some of this yellow again. We're going to go right here. Just a nice, powerful, clean yellow. Let's grab our red with some of our brown. Want a nice red brown. Go down. Oops. But look at this huge chunk that came up. Who uses that? Who can use that? Nobody can use that. We're gonna go right here. Let's go with a yellow in here. It is an off yellow. I did that on purpose. Grab some of this color again. Take that off. Ah, walking the dog, not in the rain. Alright, what's up, you two? In the rain, walking dogs. Out of the rain, walking dogs. That's awesome. Either way. Good news is good news, right? Walking a dog is usually good news. If you can walk and you have a dog, you're doing good in life, you know? Things could be worse. If you got a dog and you can walk, you're doing great. There's a lot of people in the world who wish they could have a dog and wish they could walk. And if you've got both at the same time, you're doing really, really well for yourself. So good news, people. You are in the top 95% of society. If you can walk a dog. You're doing fantastic. You are doing so wonderful, everybody. We're all doing fantastic. If you're watching this stream, you have internet connection, you're doing great. Your life is like you're living, it's like you're living in a first world place. It is beautiful. America. I'm in America painting. I mean, this is what dreams are made of, right? Painting in the United, being a painter in America, isn't that like what people strive for? Maybe not so much right now. I know there's a lot of people who dislike America, including many Americans, but hey, I am pro USA and many other countries. USA. A coyote got your cat, man? Sorry, dude. That's sad. Got him out, pulled him right out of the yard, or like guess you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. That's a big problem out here in LA is the cat snatching coyotes. The dog snatching coyotes, actually. Coyotes. The coyotes. Getting intimate with my cheek people. Alright, just want to get this nice and close. Don't really know. Gotta come up with a name now. We gotta come up with a good name. The name for this should be The Tree at the End of the Road. That's a good name, right? Isn't that a good name for a painting? The Tree at the End of the Road. There we go. It looks like too finished now. A little too finished. I'm not sure I like it as much as it was. Or do you know what's kind of cool though, is that all of these like front objects give it an extra layer of depth. Like, you know, the pieces, the parts of the painting where I'm painting over right now, they're denser with paint, and it literally like pulls the entire object forward, whereas all the stuff in the background is just like, oh, you know, there's stuff in the background. It's stuck back there. And then you know what we got to do now? We got to do some drippage. Let's do some drippage with some red paint. We're gonna do some red paint drippage right now. Yes, let's do some red paint drippage. So grab our red paint, grab some mineral spirit, dip it in some thick mineral spirit, and we're just gonna drip it down. It's not dripping. That's kind of messed up there. Didn't drip. So let's try that again. Let's see if we could drip it. I should have mastery over my tools. I should be able to do exactly what I said I was going to do when I'm doing it. I've totally failed you, YouTube. Please don't tell my art agent that my technical mastery of mineral spirits and oil paint is incomplete. This is a chunk of paint that doesn't need to be there. So this is inspired by Damien Hirst. That's a little bit of a joke. If anyone knows any of Damien Hirst's recent paintings, all he does is basically dab the surface with color, which, you know, I like his paintings. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But there are, you know, if you're the top of the best of the best, you know, people will always expect brilliance from you. But you know what? A human being as capable as Damien Hirst is has shown, I mean, I feel like he's showing the limits of, like, you know, human artistic vision. It's good to know what the limits are. I feel like he could push himself a little harder, but you know what? Maybe that's the whole symbolism, right? Saving some ideas for other people. Like, he could have just kept running with, like, he could just kept running with preserved animals and just made that, like, something that he was known for eternity. But he's basically created an entire forest of paintings filled with dots. Entire forest of paintings. When's my car gonna be ready? My car's been in the shop for an oil change for like 6 hours. I'm waiting for them to give me a call. Where's my yellow? Oh my gosh, where's my yellow? My big yellow tube. Alright, here we go. Yeah. Who likes Damien Hirst? I like Damien Hirst. I think Damien Hirst is a great modern example of like great modern example of like someone we could document as an artist who, you know, got into it really young, was very successful, and you know, at this point it's a matter of just seeing how far he can push his ideas, you know? How far can Damien Hirst push his ideas, his visions, his creations? I'm gonna get some more of this mineral spirit. I mean, his paintings must be really expensive to make because they're big and they use a ton of paint. And then someone's got to apply them, so he's got assistants, right? I'm pretty sure he's got assistants. There's no way Damien Hirst does not have an assistant. I wonder how he hires. Like, did they have to sign NDAs? And they can never say that they were like an assistant that worked on Damien Hirst's painting? The secrecy behind a Damien Hirst painting. He got measles. He makes some money, but is he the best? I mean, according to the art market, yeah, Damien Hirst is the best, bro. You can't argue with the art market. Unless you're going to create your own art market. You're going to create your own art market, and then you're going to label yourself as the best. Gotta create your own industry. All right, we gotta throw some dots down the side here. On the top. If I could grab some reds, go down. Grab our yellow. How much dotting do I need to do? If I was studying Damien Hirst's work right now, I would count how many dots he did. What do I think of Riot Games art? Yo, Riot Games is amazing. What a great company. And it's great that they've, you know, they're actually, you know, what a great team that would take that would take video games and make amazing animations out of them. Like Riot Games has fantastic vision, leadership, and their artwork is pretty phenomenal. I used to play League of Legends like many years ago. I haven't touched it, but I played it a lot. But in all honesty, I was a toxic player. I never got out of Bronze League. So, you know, if that speaks to the type of person I am, then so be it. It's all for the better, because if I got really good at that game, I'd probably be so addicted. Never got out of Bronze League. I am just a toxic solo team player. Let's flip this around. Actually, you know, I mean, I feel like this is just it now. I don't even need to, like... Does it make me a bad person to be a bad Riot League of Legends player? Did he actually apply all those dots? You know what? As far as I've seen on video, he applied some of them. And that's, right? Isn't that what matters? As long as he applied a couple. He doesn't have to apply all of them. He just has to apply the ones that are on video. Just needs to be the ones that are on a video, and that's enough proof for me. I'm not going to ask any questions. Who's going to question the validity of a Damien Hirst painting? Now, will that painting sell? I don't know. Well, who knows? But I like where this painting is. It's pretty neat. It's a visual disturbance. Damien Hirst did it beautifully, though. His dots are better than my dots. Do y'all want to see my cute cat on the couch? Isn't this really like a distracting image? Look at my cat right there. She's so cute. Look at this little cat. She's just laying there with her eyes closed, not a care in the world. Little Pookie. Little baby girl. Yes, she's the baby girl. Little baby kitty. Go sneak up on her. You got the whole couch to yourself, huh? What's up, you? Look at that stretch. Yeah. How's your nap going? Gonna wake your ass up? Ready to go back to bed? You want me to step on your head like you step on my head? I would never step on her head, but she steps on my head, for the record. Right? She's always stepping on my face in the mornings, huh? You know that? Stepping on my face. You just walk all over me. Yeah. Do that groom. Yeah, hey, there. Groom those paws. Ah. All right. Little cat loving. As long as I get credit for the work, who cares? He had someone painted technical imagery and he would add the dots on video. As far as I say, that's, hey, if he could sell it, you know, more power to him. Man's got to eat. Damien Hirst has to eat too, okay? He's a thriving artist. He needs money too. He has a career that he's got to keep up with. A brand. People depend on him for income. People depend on Damien Hirst for income. Should I keep painting through exhaustion? I'm a little tired now. It's 2 hours, 50 minutes. My car has still not come out of the shop yet. What should I paint? I have this painting back here. I don't actually know what it is, and I think it's a great painting to paint over. Let me check it out. Haha. Here we go. It's my portrait of Don Drell. I painted this while he was here, so. And this is what it looks like after it's dried, which I think is actually pretty good. It's pretty dang good. All my paintings are good. But I actually painted this upside down. So, I don't know. And I based it on his really small, like less than a centimeter photo that's on the live stream that you can see. So I probably got his nose wrong. You know, I got a lot of things wrong, but it was fun to do. Portrait of Don Drell. I will paint over it. I think I am painting over it. My goodness, I'm at a loss for ideas right now. Just... Whatever shall I do? Whatever shall I do? Is this worse than watching paint dry? Watching an artist trying to figure out what to paint? Like, so I could just do another movie still, and I thought about that today, and I really like the idea, but like, I feel like doing too many movie stills makes me dependent on doing movie stills. Because movie stills are just like, they're just so easy. They're just so easy. far as painting idea goes. You can just like do it forever and get stuck in that possibility of doing it forever. And I don't think that's a bad thing to get stuck in. It's just like for me, you know, I felt like I had to loosen up today. I guess I started with the movie still. I started today with a movie still. And now I'm trying to like break myself out of a slump. Because I didn't like the painting that I did. And I don't know, how do we move forward? How can we get creative here? Let's do a tape painting. Tape paintings are always good for creativity. All right, let's see how we're going to do this. We're going to go... Let's just put tape in like random places and try to figure out what we're going to do after. Some tape right there. Put some tape right here. Ooh, here we go. We got thick tape. So let's put some... Wow, what did I miss? How did I make these shiny strips? Huh? What are you talking about? Shiny strips. So this is a portrait of Don Drell. He comes into this live stream once in a while. He's also an artiste. So this has to go down. And this also has to go down. Go up. You know what? Maybe this just becomes a pattern of trying to keep the tape down. The blue tape is better than the Paul Rubens tape. So if anyone has ever considered buying regular blue painter's tape from that's used for painting versus Paul Rubens painter's tape, definitely go with the regular. Definitely go with the regular. You tell very easily that this is a the Paul Rubens tape is no good. Let's see, I'm just gonna look to build some shapes. So that was a good shape, right? That's a fun shape. As long as the Paul Rubens stays. I just got the tape over Paul Rubens. I got a tape over the tape. How annoying is that? Tape over the tape. Might as well just get rid of the Paul Rubens, but I like the thickness of the Paul Rubens, so I kind of have to keep it for now. You know what? It's not all Paul Rubens' fault. Maybe it's his surface texture or whatever. Tape is supposed to be put on a surface. This tape is supposed to be put on a surface that, is wet or dry pre-painting. Not really for post-painting. Especially since some of this is never drying oil pastel. So part of what I got to do right now is come up with a bunch of shapes. So I applied for a few residencies, didn't get any of them, but it's all good. It was really only 2 residencies, and I didn't get either. They were really big residencies too. LA's got a bunch of potential residency programs. So if anyone wants to know if I've been in a residency, no, I did not get into the residency I would have liked. Pace has a new video of Robert Nava reflecting on Jean Dubuffet. And what did he say? What's the conclusion there? What is the conclusion on Dubuffet? All right, let's just start with this. I am just painting mindlessly right now. I'm actually, mentally tired. And it's times like these when I just I like to paint even when I'm mentally tired sometimes, because I'm really curious what my mind will do when I'm not trying to paint too seriously. And sometimes it's surprising, but lots of times it just ends up being something that I have to paint over. Which, either way, that's fine, right? I guess you could say it's a little bit of a waste of paint. There's people who are hungry, who are struggling to afford their paint supplies, and here I am just wasting paint. Ugh. Should I feel like a horrible human being? So one was a residency, just an art residency. So it was it was actually about 20K over the course of 5 months. It was a 4 months, $20,000 residency. A corporate one, with the law firm, out of all the possible places, it was with a law firm. So that would have been nice, $20,000 to paint for 4 months. That'd have been really nice. How cool would that be, huh? So I didn't get that one. So I'm not $20,000 richer right now. And then another one, so LA's local library has a great program where you could apply for residencies and stuff. And basically you're the official library artist for like however many months. And that was paid too. It wasn't paid 20K, but still an interesting residency. You know what? I need more tape. More tape is necessary. So yeah, there are some really cool residencies though that I see. I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you really like painting nature, you can, national parks, pretty much every major national park in America offers artistic residencies. And basically they'll give you a stipend and a place to live at the national park, and you could just stay there and just paint. So there's a fun fact, anybody who's interested in that. And you know, they're usually free to apply. So I've seen one where it costs like $1 because they want to just know that, like, you know, you're at least somewhat serious. You're serious enough to pull out your wallet and give them $1, right? But yes. That is a fun fact. You can do that. You can apply for those. Disaster piece? Why not masterpiece? Oh yeah, the economy definitely is pretty much tanking. So I can imagine that. But you know what? Like if a law firm, I'm pretty sure the law firm kept with it and just found a different artist. I don't think it had to do with the economy, honestly, because like law firms, like they're always, like law firms, unless the lawyers just are absolutely terrible, you know, they're not struggling. They are not, you know, having issues. And if a law firm is just absolutely terrible, you know, they wouldn't even deal with artists. They wouldn't even come up with that idea of possibly offering an artist residency. So that said, something to think about. Let's see, what other, got some mostly warm colors. Maybe we could stick with this idea of warm and cold, warm and cold. So we're gonna go The great thing about tape painting is that, you know, you can have an idea of what it's going to look like, but you never really know. Like, you know, I know that these are going to come up with some really nice shapes, but you never know how good it's going to look, how clean, how crisp the edges are going to be until you finally pull the tape off. You finally pull the tape off and you see the final product. And you can create great effects or you can create horrible effects. I don't know. I feel like it's impossible to mess up with the tape painting, right? Like, if you put tape pretty much anywhere, you're going to get some clean edges. And I've made one painting with tape. And I said it's pretty much impossible to mess up. But of course, I would be the person that could mess it up. Because I think the colors were really bad. I chose really, really bad colors for the tape. Or for the surfaces. So, you know, anyone can mess it up. Of course, it would be me. But here I am. I'm not actually using the tape to form a hard shape. I'm using the tape to be the shape. There we go. There's innovation, right? You could write stories about this. You can write an article about me, about how instead of painting around the tape and getting the shape, trying to create shapes with tape, I use the tape as the shape to create the design. This is something that you would find in a encyclopedia of artists 100 years from now. Don't be the tape. I mean, don't. What would Bruce Lee say? I'm trying to quote Bruce Lee here. Be like tape. Flow like tape. Go around tape. Do not be stuck using the tape to create your painting. Be like the area around the tape, which can flow around the tape. What would Bruce Lee say? That's what Bruce Lee would say. I know it. I know it from the depths of my encyclopedic knowledge. Yo, it's Raya Omizu. Yes, we're all here. Everybody's here. How exciting. Honestly, I've wanted to do a challenge where like I paint for like 12 hours straight, but honestly, I don't know, like, I don't know. Just has it really only been 3 hours and 13 minutes? I feel like I've been painting longer than that. I know Omizu can do 12 hours straight of painting. Omizu is a high energy productive artist. Alright, let's just start pulling some of this tape off so we can see. We don't need this one anymore. Don't need this anymore. All right, good old, looks like stencils. Looks like stencils. And then, it's another area. Okay, we could take off this one. Did we make a masterpiece? Or are we getting close to making a masterpiece? I don't think so. I think we missed the mark. Maybe a master work. I could probably call this a master work. But a masterpiece, I don't know. Masterpiece, a mastery of ingenuity and creative art, design, and innovation. Not quite convinced of it. All right, let's see. This piece is gonna come off. What now? I mean, it does look okay. Anything with like hard, crisp edges makes you feel good. You know, this looks clean. It's just like, just gives you this feeling of like a completeness. It's a completeness, a fulfilling feeling. All right, you know what, everybody? I think I'm done for now. I have burned myself out of ideas. And my brain's shutting down. I guess I could just like keep doing random stuff, but I don't know, I'm not feeling in that mood. Sometimes I like to do that, you know, like when I'm like totally drained from long, extensive painting, and then I just decide that I'm going to just paint randomly and crazily. But also, got an art show. So, you know, got to sell some paintings. Got an art show coming up if you're in the Los Angeles, Glendale area. at the end of the month, I'll be doing an art show in Glendale. More to come when that becomes official. But yeah, we'll be doing an art show, sell some paintings, clear some space in my apartment, and do some new paintings. But anybody that was here, thanks for enjoying. Just you engaging in a conversation sometimes is enough to provide the inspiration for some future projects. Or just paint random ideas. Either way is great. Now I need a break. So a break we shall have. We shall have our breaks. And it's still pretty early. I might actually be back later. But if I can, you know, put up the motivation to continue one of these paintings. We're actually gonna take this piece off and we're gonna put this, hide this somewhere. And then this is gonna be this is my favorite piece of recent times here. It's like, I feel like it's a Temu Francis Bacon. Temu Francis Bacon painting. There we go. Call me Temu Francis Bacon. I'm very proud of this piece. I really like it. It's a fun piece. Has a lot of thought that goes put into it. Let me talk about this piece before I sign off here. You know, here was my thoughts, right? Definitely wanted to keep the background flat. I decided to just leave the underpainting as the background, and I really like how I did his face. You know, anybody who watches my live streams knows I don't like to paint small faces, but I think I like it when I do okay, but not when I can't do it. Of course, right? And you know what? I think these bodies, they all turn out pretty well. These bodies, even though this is supposed to be like parts from bodies, and I use like blacks and blues and like grays, I still think that it has an energy to it. This area has an energy of like body parts. So that works perfect. You know, I've stratified some of this just to give it like a creative feel for it, you know. An ode to Mondrian with yellow, blue, and reds. Self-critiques. If anyone wants to say something negative, go ahead. You can say you don't like it. You could say it's garbage. Like, even if I like you and you've been to the stream before, I mean, go ahead and horribly critique it if you like, brutally critique it. You know, I just loved playing with some of the ideas. We're going to be a Temu version of Francis Bacon. I think I did a good job. You know, there's definitely this contrast of this dude who's observing all the things. By the way, these are tongues. This is a guy who collects tongues and just lets them hang down the side of his coat here. A little tour of the painting. Decided to keep it mostly flat. Let the blood splatter be pretty crazy. You know, leaving back here, like, what is this mystery? There's like a mystery thing back here. You can't quite figure it out what it is. And it's disturbing. And all of this, I just think it's a great, fun painting. If I did do it again, I would consider painting the background or the foreground. However, I think this piece has enough going on that I don't need to, like, you know, I kind of like that they're just like in space, like in like this unusual, weird alternative universe space. All right, well, that's enough on that. We're gonna take a break, come back later. Love all of you. Yeah, spread love, people. Tell somebody that you love them today. Maybe even tell someone that you don't really know that you love them or their work or something. Spread love. L-O-V-E, L-U-V, L-O-V. How many ways can you spell love? L-E-V, L-U-V, L-U-V-E, L-E-H-V. However many ways you can spell love, feel free to spread it. And we're going to come back later. I really like this painting. I want to do more like it. But here's the funny thing. So, like, I started this painting this morning. Y'all were here for it. And I was like, you know what? I got this. It's in a bag. I can, like, get this feel on it. But I just wasn't quite able to do it. I don't know why. So that's why sometimes the spontaneity, I think, helps a lot. The spontaneity of a painting. Like, you know, I started with the figurative thing, and I started adding more ideas, and I made this really nice, and then I destroyed it. But the other one, I kind of went into tension with, like, abstractifying it first. So I've still got time to explore, but we'll have to do that later. Take care, everyone.